I've spent 8 years working in cybercrimes, tracking hackers and breaking down encrypted data. You get used to seeing strange things online, but nothing prepares you for the sound of a dead, relative secret signal at 2 in the morning. It was exactly 2:14 a.m. on a Tuesday. My phone didn't ring with a normal sound. Instead, it made a strange rhythmic clicking noise like old metal gears spinning and catching inside a clock. Then, the screen switched to a text message. It displayed a real-time map with a single sentence: 7,580 degrees, north 73.9855 degrees, west. The vault is opening. You have 12 minutes. My heart dropped. That exact clicking sound belonged to a specific type of old mechanical timer. My grandfather was a master locksmith who built high-security vaults back in the 1970s, and he used that exact noise as a secret audio signature for his personal locks. The problem: he passed away 5 years ago. Coordinates on my screen pointed straight to the deep basement of an old abandoned theater in Times Square, a property my family was supposed to have sold decades ago. According to the timer, I had less than 12 minutes left to get there. I didn't have time to panic. Every second wasted was a second closer to that timer hitting 0. I quickly plugged my phone into my main computer to trace where the message came from. Whoever sent it wasn't using normal cell towers. They were routing the signal through old hidden transit radio setups to cover their tracks, bouncing the data through abandoned subway tunnels to hide the original source. But they made one huge mistake: to get past the city's main network security and wake up the old system. They had to use an old administrator password. It was a 24-character code that popped up on my screen in bright red text. My jaw dropped as I read it. It matched my grandfather's old employee ID number perfectly. This wasn't a random hacker prank. It was an automated digital tripwire my grandfather must have built and hidden. Decades ago, he had programmed the system to send out an alert only if someone physically broke into his secret vault down there and messed with the lock. Someone was standing in the dark right now, 12 floors beneath the city streets, uncovering secrets we thought were buried forever. The countdown timer on my phone ticked down to 9 minutes, the numbers flashing aggressively against the dark walls of my room. I grabbed my heavy jacket, picked up a ring of old brass keys from the kitchen counter, and headed straight for the door. The city outside was completely quiet, covered in a thick layer of midnight fog, and bathed in the eerie, pulsing glow of flashing neon lights. The data didn't lie, and my tracking software was already showing that the vault's backup security layers were failing one by one. Whoever was down there knew exactly what they were looking for. They had the blueprints, and they knew how to avoid the city's automated security guards. I had less than 9 minutes to get across town, slip past the old security gate, and find out what dangerous secret my grandfather had spent his entire life hiding before it fell into the wrong hands. As I raced down the stairwell of my apartment building, my second phone vibrated with a completely new stream of data. The locked file attached to the original text message was finally opening up line by line. It wasn't just a location tracking program. It was a digital journal entry written by my grandfather 3 days before he died in the hospital. The text on my screen read, "If you are reading this, the automatic alarm has gone off, and I am already gone. They think I built the city's main banking vaults just to hold gold, but they never realized what I actually hid Inside the foundation walls in 1974, I found a secret ledger, list of names connecting the highest levels of city leadership to an underground black market. When they realized I knew they set me up, I had to lock the original hard drive inside. The theater vault, protected by a hard-wired network loop that can never be hacked from the outside. It can only be opened by my own DNA or a manual override code. The pieces of my childhood instantly clicked together. I finally understood why my grandfather had spent his final years acting so paranoid, constantly changing the locks on our house and warning us never to trust official city notices. He wasn't losing his mind, he was actively hiding the physical evidence that could ruin the city's most powerful corrupt figures. I sprinted out of the lobby and into the damp night air, jumping into my car and slamming my foot onto the gas pedal. The GPS route on my dashboard lit up in a sharp blue line winding through the narrow side streets of Manhattan to completely avoid the main avenues where the automatic traffic cameras would instantly scan my license plate according to the live system checks. Running on my computer, the intruder in the theater basement wasn't trying to blast the vault door open with explosives. That would have triggered the city's sound sensors and alerted the police immediately. Instead, they were using a highly specialized heavy-duty EMP device to slowly freeze the electronic switches inside, the lock forcing the vault into a manual override state. It was a technique only known to professional agents. The timer hit 4 minutes just as I swung around the corner of the dark alley behind the abandoned theater. The rusted iron security gates were pulled shut, but the heavy padlock had already been cleanly cut away. Lying on the wet ground, a single black van with completely blacked-out windows and no license plates was parked in the shadows, its engine running silently. I cut my headlights, grabbed the ring of old brass keys, and slipped through the gap in the broken gate. The inside of the old theater was freezing, smelling of rotted fabric and wet concrete. The faint, steady hum of a portable generator echoed from the floorboards below, guiding me toward the backstage stairs. As I reached the top of the basement stairs, the timer on my phone gave one last vibration. 0. A sharp metallic clang echoed from deep in the basement, the sound of the heavy brass locks finally sliding back. The vault was wide open. I took a deep breath, gripped the heavy keys in my hand, and stepped down into the dark, ready to face whatever was waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs.